Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is Sunday, January 5th. Happy New Year, everyone. Howard.
Happy New Year. Do they celebrate that in Bulgaria?
Yeah, I think we
do. You have the same calendar, like it's January in Bulgaria? Is everything flipped?
Everything's the same, Howard.
I need to read more. I mean, it just feels like I know very little about Bulgaria, even though...
You should, especially when it comes to history, especially...
How many people in Bulgaria?
7 million people.
I mean, what's the importance? Like, that's like a small city in China.
Yeah, you can say that, but Bulgaria is the only nation who saved its Jews during the Second World War, so you should at least know about that.
I didn't know about that. We appreciate it, Ivan, but with anti-Semitism on the rise, you're not getting much credit for that anymore.
Okay.
Get used to it. Well, you're looking good. All right, let's, you've got that San Diego smirk. Have you been watching any of the NFL playoffs?
I didn't have a chance, but I heard that Patriots didn't make it, which is a big surprise, I guess.
Yeah, well, he's 105 years old. Eventually, dynasties end. Okay, you pick it up here.
All right, so basically last week was flat week for the S&P, but definitely we saw a big surge in volatility. At the beginning of the year, we saw notable capital inflow into emerging market stocks, especially Chinese stocks, after that news that the Chinese central bank is cutting the bank's minimum reserves to provide liquidity to their economy. So we saw a big spike on Thursday. The Chinese internet ETF KWEB gained 6% on Thursday, which is insane one-day move considering this is not a leverage ETF. This is just a regular ETF. And on Friday, it didn't give up much of the gains. So it's definitely notable move into those stocks. And it wasn't just Chinese stocks, other emerging market stocks also saw a big inflow of capital. And it seems we see similar price action at the beginning of every...
Looks like there was some reversals Friday though, Ivan.
I'm sorry?
Looks like there were some reversals Friday though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a weekly chart. So definitely on the EEM, we saw some reversals. But if you take a look, let's say Brazil, and it kind of held its gap, or stock like, for example, Mercado Libre, Friday was a consolidation day. So my point is that emerging markets have been underperforming significantly for the past 3, 5, 10-year horizon. And every year people say, oh, this is the year emerging market will finally outperform. And this is why we see that initial surge at the beginning of the year that usually lasts 2-3 months in emerging foreign stocks. And after that, at some point, it fails. I don't know if this year will be any different, but definitely we see similar price action, money flowing into emerging market stocks. And on Thursday was an amazing start of the year, and then it came that escalation of the political situation with Iran, which basically led to U.S. indices giving up their gains on Friday. We saw a big spike in crude oil on Friday. I think this is something to watch. If there is further escalation in the situation, this might turn into a new trend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crude oil, gold has been strong for quite some time. I mean, that.
Go back. I think that gold's been strong. Bitcoin rallied on Friday in the news, the Iran stuff, and then that oil spike was interesting because I don't follow it, but if you look at back at that oil chart, Ivan, there was that gap up when the drones hit the Saudis.
Right here, probably.
Yeah, and here we are now closing on a weekly above that spike. So I think that's interesting. I think there's more to this Iran thing. I have no idea, but I tell you what, there are so many cross currents to the Iran thing, Israel, US, Iraq, Iran. I mean, there are so many cross currents to this, obviously with the impeachment. So I think we've got our page 10 story, which is Iran coming to page 1. And I think this week may not be a good one. I hope I'm wrong. I think this week may not be a good one. I think there's just going to be a lot of volatility. Both sides are going to be, this is a true escalation of tensions, and it wasn't a page 1 story, the Iran thing, until Thursday or Friday. So we'll see if the markets can really digest this, but that oil spike and stick means something. I think gold, I think you have the weaker dollar, which is why the emerging markets were strong, and the markets were due for a rest anyways. So, and I think expectations, people were just having a little bit too much fun with speculating. So we'll see. We'll see.
The silver lining of, of that political turmoil is that bonds are rallying, which is keeping interest rates low, and considering the enormous corporate and government debt, low interest rates is a good thing.
No. We have a friendly, listen, macro-wise, we have a very friendly backdrop. That's why stocks are going up. But, I think a wrench is thrown into things with this Iran stuff, because this is something wasn't.
If you're right about the escalation, I think people need to think about some short-term hedges, like gold, oil, or just maybe some.
Not chasing ideas, right? Let's see how this.
So the interesting thing on Friday is that I was watching the tape on Friday morning, with the big gap down, is that some of the first stocks to turn green, other than some Chinese names, were software stocks. Mm-hmm. Currently, there's so many good setups in enterprise software stocks.
Well, let's go through some. I mean, I agree that they turn COUP.
Yeah. So let's start with the ETF IGV, which is turning up near its all-time high. As you can see, it's almost fully retraced that gap down. And then on Friday, we had Coupa Software trying to break out from a pretty long base here.
Good volume too.
Yes, and it kind of finished from near the highs of its day. And there's so many others that are actually setting up near its all-time highs, like ServiceNow. It's still ranked number 1 on the Momentum 50 list, setting up for a breakout.
Splunk, which we've been talking about.
Splunk, which is in top 5, setting up near its all-time highs. Mm-hmm. There's so many, at least 20, 25 software names.
Yeah.
That they're looking good. I mean, granted, if the market gets scared from whatever is happening in the Middle East, they're not going to break out, or those breakouts are going to fail. But if nothing really happens, those stocks are likely to outperform next week, because there's so many good setups. Even stocks that are beaten down, like Alteryx, AYX, it's back above its 200, setting up.
Twilio even started to get back, I think.
Exactly. It's setting up for a potential breakout near 105 here, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it, but yeah, I'm long. Okay.
I mean, technically, it's not looking like amazing, but it's back above its already flat and 20-day moving averages. So as I said, if there's no escalation of the situation in Iran, this stock is likely to rally this week.
Well, I think, Ivan, there's no doubt that there's going to be escalation. The question is, does the market care? The question is, does the market care? So we will see.
Last week we talked about energy stocks, how they've been underperforming for a decade, and all of a sudden now they're kind of starting to move.
Yeah. Everybody's reading the same stuff. People are getting smarter. Social media, these between Twitter and stock twits are so. You can, these sound bites that used to take a while to spread now, it just happens so fast. There's so many people sharing interesting charts and data points. I think you're right about software. what else shows up on?
Last week we talked about how bull markets often correct through sector rotations, and we talked about the potential weakness in biotech. And this is exactly what we saw. The biotech sector had a, it continued its pullback. It's kind of testing this area of potential support here, 93, 94.
Okay.
So it's something to keep an eye on. I mean, definitely it's been the leading sector for the past 3 months. So it's normal to see some form of a pullback.
Okay.
But at some point,
any names that just stand out to you that are you're watching?
Sweet. Unicure, it's holding better than the rest, holding its rising 20-day bounced on Friday. Rita Pharma, it's not looking amazing in a short-term perspective, but on a long-term, it's kind of.
No, just I want people to get familiar with the names that you've been following. But you mentioned all these
long-term range here. And then the obvious ones, Arrowhead. It will consolidate that big move. I mean, it tripled in the past 4 or 5 months, so it's normal to have at least a pullback to its rising 50-day. Acadia Pharmaceuticals, it's giving back its gains, but this area here is a potential support. And
two names are interesting to me, Ivan. Thanks for that. I saw for a while now, 230 has been a big number for Goldman. You know, financials have been strong, and you know, as the year starts out, it's just a name that above 230. That's just been a fight. You know, if there seems to be this kind of as much as you know, the leverage they have, there's something going on with the financials. I think we got to watch them here closely. And then I think even some of so Goldman is a late kind of laggard leader. Above 230 is interesting. You can hold that 230, and then especially if we sell off a bit here. And then I thought Facebook trying to get, you know, stick at all-time highs. You know, this could be interesting. I think they're going to have huge numbers because obviously they don't care about anything, but it hasn't been able to, you know, stick and play with the leaders. But it had a pretty good week, Facebook. So I think Facebook and Goldman are two. I don't own Goldman, I own Facebook, but they're two names that I'm watching. And then obviously Amazon had another good week. Held on to its gap gains.
Now it's consolidating above its 200 days. So one of the stocks is definitely standing out in terms of rising relative strength here, even though still low. And then, of course, on Friday, we saw that big breakout in defense names. This is the ETF XAR. This is a weekly chart. You can see it broke out to new all-time highs.
This ETF, Ivan, I can't believe I have to start considering this as like for young people. This is just one, you know, as long as America remains a superpower, I don't know why this isn't an ETF in my 8 to 80 list. Whereas it's just any dips in this index, any 20, 30% dips or buys. So is that the best ETF that you see? I mean, I'm gonna have to check out the
only one that I know in that space. I'm sure there are others since they're.
I'll have to look at the components of it, but I'm gonna start working on.
But yeah, some of the components are just Lockheed Martin. I'm sure.
Face it.
Probably they are.
There's never a bear market in these. Well, Boeing's not so much a defense stock, right? It's everything. It's an industrial, but Northrop Grumman, I guess, NOC maybe or is that a railroad?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin.
Look at the company.
I'm going to do a little work there, but obviously for people that I think, as much as they're not household names, I think at this point in my 8 to 80 list, I'm going to have to add some kind of defense portfolio.
Yeah, this one is also maybe interesting.
Yeah, I used to follow the stock AVAB, and it's an Israeli company, huge numbers, and it's in the drone space. You know what?
That might be at the beginning of a new
trend. This may be the beginning of something new for them, with what's going on. So that may go back on my watch list, but I've owned it before.
Look at the earnings. It went from 11 cents in 2015, and this year expected to make 164. So that's a pretty significant jump in earnings.
Yeah, that may be a good spec play for 2018. I'm putting that back on the list. So AVAB. Anything else, Ivan, that you're looking at from a swing perspective?
That's it. I'm focused on software as long as the market, doesn't gap down again and sell off. I think software is the place to be this week. Maybe crude oil as well if things escalate. That's it.
Okay, buddy. Have a great week. Everybody have a great week. Thanks, Marco. Thanks, Investors Daily and Market Smith for the charts. And Ivan, where you are, talk a little bit about what you're offering. You have a service.
Oh yeah, I do have a new service, and you can learn more about it on just my website, ivanhoff.com. Just click on premium, and it does involve a private Twitter feed where I share both options and stock ideas in real time.
You share topless volleyball pictures of yourself as well?
No.
That's a question I'm getting.
No, I don't do that yet.
You should once a week do that. I just think it'd be good for subscribers.
Yeah, actually, recently, I don't want to talk about it, but let's keep talking about that service. And also, there is of course, there is a daily email after the market hours for people that cannot follow it during the day, for people that are busy with their other work, with an update and some position trade, swing trade ideas. And there is also a longer weekly email, which comes with updated momentum 50 list, which many people use as a basis, for their.
People can subscribe, and they don't have to. People can subscribe to our weekly. Can you show people where they can subscribe on YouTube?
Yes. So on YouTube, just search for Momentum Monday or for Ivan Hoff, and you see the channel. Let me see. How can I just open?
That way, people can just get an alert. YouTube.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, you can just search for, let's say, search for Ivan Hoff, and then you see that channel here, so you can subscribe and you can get the weekly shows. You can see all of them.
Just click on Momentum Monday. So we got 1,000 subscribers. We're gonna.
Yeah, 1,200, but not all of them are watching all the time. But yes.
No, but that way you get an alert. But if you click on Momentum Monday, it looks.
This is from last week.
I know, but I'm trying to show people where they subscribe. So they click on Momentum Monday.
Well, I'm looking at it from a point of view of my channel. I'm sure that if people search for it, they'll be able to subscribe from it.
Okay.
There'll be a button here that you can just click subscribe, and you can get notification anytime a new show is posted, and then you can watch all the previous shows as well. So let's say if you click here to the channel, and then you can see all the previous shows.
Okay. Thanks, Ivan. Have a great week, everybody. And we will see you next week.
Yeah.